just gotta love that. I'm just saying. Uh, um, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Glad you could be here. Alongside Jan is with me today.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody.
So basically, what we're going to talk about is I know on my end. Well, I'm not approaching an anniversary yet, although it's not too far away. It's about 3 months out. But what I myself want to talk about, just to mention at first, is I've got three videos that were done in the past that I highly recommend that I would like to have some of the viewers or subscribers to check out because maybe they haven't seen it.
Yes, that's good, Steve. There are a treasure trove of videos out there from so many different content creators. And you know what's near and dear to my heart, Steve? I've been hearing more and more that some people are on purpose having two meals a day instead of three, or skipping meals. I'm not talking about the ones that choose to go on a certain diet because they want it as a weight loss method. That's their thing, whatever. I'm not talking about that. Talking about because of
Hmm.
economics and financials or whatever. And it breaks my heart. This is one of the reasons, Steve. Thank you for having me here, by the way, and hi everybody.
Sure.
I came across a video from one of my favorite channels, Mornings with Granny. And if you've never been to her channel, I strongly suggest you get there. Now, recently on my community page, all you have to do is flip back to my community page or look up the following video name, okay? $10 equals 42 meals utilizing
Hmm.
grocery store slash free food. So you can just enter $10 equals 42 meals, and I'm sure the whole thing will come up. And you're going to see the channel Mornings with Granny. You're going to see a beautiful plate of ham and corn and some vegetables, some green beans. It looks amazing.
Hmm.
Because you know what, Steve? Because as a result of all the craziness out there, which thankfully will hopefully die down a little bit, um, people, have been doing crazy things to meet their bills, skipping meals. I mean, this is not acceptable. So when I came across that video, $10 equals 42 meals, I had to just like put that idea out there. Thank you, Mornings with Granny,
Yeah.
so much.
Mhm.
Such a wonderful lady and wonderful channel. And might someone might get something out of it. That means the world to me because that's why we're here, right, Steve? We're here to help people.
Yes.
You did an amazing video about what was about a year ago in July, like early July. I don't remember the
Yeah.
name of it.
Yeah. I mean, you can always please feel free to go back and look it up. And the way that the video is titled, it's cheap and frugal living. Save over $1,000 on groceries, and we did it. Yeah, about a year ago, maybe a little bit, maybe a year and a couple weeks. But you and I put it together. It's a very good video. I do highly recommend it. It's very thorough. And now that I think back to what it talks about, it will definitely put money back in your hand. I
Who
have
wouldn't
had,
mind that these days? Really?
yeah, because I remember when we did the video and it aired, and the comments that I got back at the time, um, you know, a couple of 3 days later, 4 days later, I think a couple people had gone shopping and they had tried, a couple of the suggestions that were mentioned and spoke up and said, "Hey, this actually worked." It didn't save them $1,000, but it put a few hundred back in their hand. Anything,
That's helpful. And if I
yeah.
recall, Steve, you mentioned things in exact numbers, like the numbers, how things have added up, and like you give particular situations and items and numbers. This is a
Hmm.
very good, very. I'm not just saying it because you're my friend. We
Yeah.
care about the folks. We care about those of you who take the time, kind enough to come to our channels and to view our stuff. We do really care about you guys and the way things are going at this moment in time. And again, I'm the eternal optimist. So I'm thinking a few months down the pike may get better. I don't think the prices will ever resume back to 4 years ago. It probably can't, but
No.
there'll be a lot of improvements and other things. But the thing is, Steve, with that video, it demonstrates specific methods of saving.
Yeah.
Now, those of you who might have seen it a year ago, liked it, and you don't remember all of it, feel free to go back to it. It's okay to rewatch a video.
Yeah.
Steve, have you ever rewatched videos that you like in general? Have you ever gone back to it and replayed it?
I have.
I
I've
do,
done.
for sure.
I've gone back and watched, some of the ones that have been done. I've even gone back and watched 2 or 3 of live videos that I've done. There are some that range from the 30-minute range, and there is one that goes up into the 3 hour. But at the time I did that one, um, I will say at that time I was not completely in the know of how to do a live. But I've learned since then. At that time, I just got on there and just read comments and just ran my mouth, ran my mouth, ran my mouth. But I didn't know any better. I didn't have a strategy of how to go about, but now I do. Now I've
Excuse me. That's so important what you just said.
yeah,
Strategy. Strategy is the difference between success and non-success. I always
that's
said
right.
that. The biggest difference between success and non-success is coming up with a plan or a strategy.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm noticing behind us, if you will, all those canned goods. This is again another reminder. If you see good items that your family loves and you actually use, for example, I wouldn't mind picking up a couple of those are the spaghetti cans behind you, right, Steve? If I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
You've got this Chef Boyardee. Yeah, and I think on the next shelf is some SpaghettiOs, and then you've got a little bit of ramen on the bottom right, and you've got the Hormel completes
These
on
are
the very
good shelf stable items, and
yeah.
really, relatively speaking, for their prices, I think it's a good bargain. There are nights you don't feel good. There are nights you get a knock on the door. It's your wonderful family. A couple of grandkids show up. What grandkid doesn't like a can of spaghetti? I mean, I
I
haven't
know.
met one yet. So
Yep.
it's good to have. It's good to have these items available and ready in the house, and to get them at the best prices, even maximum. Steve, a lot of times people forget times of year influence a price. For example, okay, we're leaving kind of like getting into the middle of July towards the end of it. Look online. Ask Mr. Computer or Mr. Google, when is the best time of year to stock up on, let's say you're looking for canned spaghetti. It may give you a suggestion. When is the best time of the year to stock up on Campbell's soup, if that's the item you like?
Yeah.
In August, what opportunities do I have for better sales on food? And they'll outline, specifics. Always stay ahead of the game.
Of the
Because
game.
when you're
Yeah.
ahead of the game, knowledge is power, right, Steve?
That's right. Um, Now, another video that I did, again, you and I, in fact, it's coming up on 1 year because it was done on the 22nd of July. Um, the video title is Ways to Budget and Not Overspend.
I like that idea.
So that would be a real good one to check out.
Yeah, look it up. Just type it in, and just you'll find it. And
Yeah,
sometimes you can have like a Jan and Steve binge session in the afternoon one day. Suppose you have a rainy afternoon and you want to curl up with your little cup of tea or something. Why not?
yeah,
There are days when I take my favorite videos in general, on the platform, and I'll say, you know what, I'm going to take an hour or two for myself and catch up on some of my favorite content creators as
mhm,
a viewer. And oftentimes I walk away with extra knowledge. I don't think I've ever wasted time, if you will, watching some videos. That's why it's important to revisit. And that's why we're glad we're reminding you guys that the stuff is there, especially for newcomers who maybe were not aware of those
yeah.
videos that came out a year back.
That's right. That's right. And then one other one that was really good. Um, I believe it was also you and I. It was recorded. This is less than a year ago. It was done about 9 months ago. Um, and the way that it's titled is "How to Avoid Struggling High Prices to Make Ends Meet." That's another good video. And again, these are all videos gearing everybody, all of you, even myself, even Jan, because
Yeah.
we that this is ways and that will help you put money back in your hand, especially when you go to the grocery store. And as
I
even
love
though
it.
right, even though that other video said about saving 1,000, it doesn't have to be 1,000. If you put a couple of hundred back in your hand, that's a start.
We'll take it. It pays bills, or you could start another bank account with it, or a different fund, and name it and claim it. Hold it
Yeah,
for gas money. I could go down the list.
yeah.
Create your
Mhm.
stockpile. There are so many things we could do with it.
Yes, there is. There is. Although saving it, paying a bill, anything that that any has to do with survival or longevity, go for it. That's what I say. Yeah,
And
because
another thing, Steve, that if you don't mind, I'd like to clear up. Some people think because they're low income, they can never save. They're low income. Oh, I shouldn't have a stockpile. Let's disband two myths. If there's any group of people who needs to save, who needs to start a stockpile, I would say it would be a lower income family. But
mhm,
you say, but how can you do? When there's a will, there's a way. Eliminate something that you might consider, oh, but I need this thing. Some people need $10 nail polish when they could buy the $1.25 nail polish that does the same trick.
it,
Oh, I have to have that
yeah,
brand of hot tea. No, you don't have to. You may want to, you may desire it, but you could get a $1.25 box of 50 tea bags and save the $6 tea for another time. That's how it adds up. Create a name it and claim it fund. Does that make sense to you, Steve?
yes, it does, because a lot of people don't realize, and it is a true statement. I would say at minimum 70% of what you buy in the dollar store, or if you buy non-brand name, not the brand name, non-brand name, a lot of the time, 70% of the time, maybe even a little better, is actually brand name stuff. Because I have been known to go over and look and compare brand name, non brand name, and compare the ingredients. And a lot of the time, it's pretty striking, very similar. So, is it worth always paying that extra $1.25, $1.50, $1.75 to get? No, I don't see it. Here's a good one. Um, I like milk. I drink milk from time to time, but I'm not a big hardcore drink milk, drink milk, drink milk. And it doesn't really pay for me to buy a gallon. So what I do is I go to the Dollar Tree and they've got milk, whole milk, 2%, whichever you want, $1.25. It's a quart. And it's supposed to be the equivalent of Parmalat. Parmalat can run 279, 289, 299. Why should you do that when you can go to the dollar store and pay $1.25 and get just as good a tasting item, if not the same thing? They just label it different.
Exercise your options. Always know there are options. Look around. Do the footwork. Sometimes looking at the Flips app is your footwork, or sometimes your actual feet are the footwork, or through
Yeah,
word of mouth. I like your idea with the milk, Steve, because milk can be costly. And it is important, in my honest opinion, to stock up on some milk. May not be the exact one you used to, but in my opinion, milk is milk. I mean, as far as cow milk goes, I like Parmalat, that type of milk, that shelf stable
yeah.
one. I think it tastes really pretty good. There's no difference in flavor, huh,
I don't.
Steve?
I don't know. I don't really notice it. No, not that I can tell.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, no.
No.
So there are ways, and there are ways, and literally, if you're low income, that's your signal to make sure you stock up. I mean, doesn't have to be like $50 the first week. Take $5 bill and get four things at the $1.25 store, food wise, shelf stable. Put it away.
Hmm. That's right. Yeah. So anyway, keep that in mind. Definitely revert back to these three videos I called out because there's a lot of helpful information there. And I'm glad that we can come on here and do that. And this is
Yeah.
stuff. This is tips and information that both she and I use in our almost everyday doings that
Yes.
maybe somebody else may not know about. So we just pass it along.
We know they work.
Yes, we do. Anyway, Jan, this was a good little run. Glad that,
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate
sure,
it.
anytime. Glad you were here. And again, I want to thank all of you, for stopping by. And, you know, always keep a lookout on a video from Jan and I, sometimes spontaneous, sometimes I'll mention it in my community tab, but always be on the lookout for us, even myself, from, on occasion.
Don't forget
And
to smash down the like button for Steve.
smash down the like button. Yes. Subscribe. That would be ever so grateful. Well, anyway, I hope everybody has a good, whatever time of day it is. And both Jan and I will see you get back here next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.